Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Cause this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're gonna give it to you rough, rugged, and raw, so come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go, 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 go. Let me try it again, this time without the mute button paused or pressed. What's up? What's up? What is up? You know what it is. It's another week of the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, coming to you, as you can tell, with a lovely background from yet another hotel, which you probably cannot tell from the background, or you might not be able to deduce from the background, as I'm at yet another AAU basketball tournament. This AAU basketball is deep in your boy's pockets, so y'all pray for it, brother. But being a sports dad is a job that never ends. I am so happy to be here. See, not only my own sons, but other kids out there playing so hard. I come to you from Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads, Newport News, even the guy in the restaurant called it Bad News, Newport News, the home of, Allen Iverson, Plaxico Burress, just a whole bunch of greats that are from this area, and it feels like a very basketball-friendly area. So perfect setting for another week of the Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. You know how it is. We're going to be joined by the dynamic duo. The Big Flow Show will be in the building again today, and ETP Ellis, the producer, is going to be in the building today. With no further ado, let's go, y'all. What up, what up, what up?
What's good, America?
You know how it is, man. Another hotel, another tournament. That's what's good, America. The AAU whole sports dynamic is deep in all of our pockets. As sports dads, you guys both understand what this is all.
You can't write none of that off on your taxes either, too. That's right, all you.
You know, and then they charge you $75 to get in. Luckily, I'm a coach, but I was looking at some of these parents like, man, they had to get here, get a hotel for several days because the way they space out the games, you got to be there several days supporting the local economy. And then you got to pay $75 to go in there and watch some kids play basketball.
I'm going to tell you, in the wrong business. That's how I became a basketball coach, because I kept going to these damn tournaments. And finally, I just saw the coach sign in. I started signing in. And then one day, the lady looked at me and she kind of watched me. And I went and I sat on the bench. And then I just kept sitting there. And I just started coaching. That's how I became a coach.
Did you ever come up with a strategy that you think was impactful to the game, other than cheering on the sideline? Did you ever come with a coach?
Get your man, box out, box out. You know, that get back coach on the box out coach. That's and my job was to work on the refs at the timeouts, because I didn't have nothing to say to the players. So I'd be like, hey, ref, explain to me why that was a foul. I mean, yeah, his finger went in his eye, but he wasn't looking.
Yeah, so, that doesn't seem like that don't warrant a foul. For all of you who don't know, he said the get back coach. There's on every coaching staff they have in the NFL, they call it the quality control coach. On the college ranks, they might say a graduate assistant, but they have that person on the sideline that their only job is to make sure that you behind the line so you don't get flagged. And I'm that guy too. I'm the behind the line coach for my team. See, the rah guy, I warm us up.
It's a good paying job. It pays $75 a week.
Good paying job. So ETP Ellis, the producer. How are you this week, my brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It sounds like you guys got your same coaching start as like Greg Popovich. I think that's how Greg Popovich started.
That's my next time.
He just started showing up. Yeah. He just showed up. He didn't want to pay the fee. He's like, I think this works for me. I'm going to start coaching.
So you said there's still time for me to become an NBA ref, which
absolutely. You got this, man. Just, you know what I'm saying?
Keep showing up, man.
Keep showing up. Yeah. Keep showing up. I already said we had more experience than Steve Nash. He got the Brooklyn Nets job, never have coached in the AAU squad. So, hey, we got a resume, my brother. Y'all know how it is, man. It's sports, business, entertainment, but we got to start with a topic that has been deemed sport. because it is on the worldwide leader of sport when it's being covered. And that is, how do I spell it? I was going to try to spell spelling bee. S-P-E. Spelling bee, man. I ain't messing with you.
Don't embarrass yourself in your universities that you attended.
I don't like to spell in public, but it makes me nervous. What do y'all think, man? The first time ever an African-American young person has won the spelling bee. What's up with it, man? We've arrived, baby. I ain't seen black folks celebrating it like they should, though, man. We spelling now, too. We ain't just making jump shots. We spelling now, too.
I can't believe it's the first time. I could have sworn I saw that before, but I had to I don't keep up with it. It's not like something I subscribe to. I don't have the spelling bee channel on cable.
Zayla Avant-Garde is what her parents named her.
Born to spell. That means born to spell in Nigerian.
Absolutely. Has to mean that. Has to mean that in some language. But this young lady put on for the culture, man, for the people, and ain't nobody. I don't see Black Twitter responding to it. I watched the show because inevitably some kid does not get enough oxygen to the brain and passes out. I'm like, you got to be some type of smart that you pass
That's from all
out
the fasting to make weight. Right, to make weight. Spelling bee.
It's a competitive sport, man. High stress.
Are we going with sport? Is it a sport?
No.
All right, so let's go around the room. Well, I'm gonna reserve my vote for last. I'll start with you, ETP, Ellis, the producer. Is it a sport? Yes or no?
It's absolutely a sport. It's the most competitive sport on Earth.
On the planet Earth. I spell Earth. E-A-R-F.
This is around the world episode. The Earth, around the Earth.
Around the Earth.
Yeah, it's a sport, man. It's competitive and it's high pressure, and they don't use anything physical, but I'll say sport. ESPN.
So that's what you're going with the qualities. Sport. So it sounds like the quality of a sport for you: high pressure and competitive. All right, Big Flow show. What's up?
Absolutely not. So I've gone through this conversation quite a bunch of times because I don't think NASCAR is a sport either. I don't think things like that where you acting a donkey now. That means there's a lot of people over 16 that are athletes. They're minor league athletes driving through traffic. That makes them a sport too. I don't think just because it's hard makes it a sport. I don't know how to do brain surgery. I think that's very difficult, but it's not a sport.
Not competitive.
But you're not competing.
Okay, so we got there. I like where you're going with that. I think you have to play some sort of defense. You have to have some sort of way to impact the performance of your opponent for it to be a sport. Otherwise, it's just a performance. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, I mean, track was one. You don't really play D, but when you're running track, you can strategically do things in the race that's going to make the other person try to run too hard at the beginning or at the late.
Yeah,
I just feel
strategy. Absolutely.
I feel like there's a strategy to do it. When you spell, man, you don't have any idea what word you come. You don't pause on the PH sounds because you want them to think you can't handle that word.
But you might prolong it, the origin, and use it in a sentence.
To try to make the person nervous.
Yeah, it's a little bit of strategy.
There's nothing in there, right? And if you can't let me tell you, if steroids won't make you better at it, it's not a sport.
You going
maybe
performance enhancement drug.
Cannabis will get you right. It will help you run track.
I was all prepared to say it wasn't a sport, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I like the competitive aspect of your lens there. Like, does it have a competitive aspect, and is it high pressure?
Pressure ain't gonna do it.
There's got to be something physical, though. To me, it's got to be something physical to be a sport.
I'll accept.
That's why I don't think you're right with NASCAR, because there's a physical element to it.
I understand that.
We got to.
That's disrespect.
Is porn a sport?
Is what a sport?
Porn.
This is going left.
What are you asking me exactly?
I have this argument with people all the time about whether things are a sport.
You're not competing.
No, you're not competing, right? There's physical aspects to it, right? You're listening to reaction. I'm not gonna go too far with that, but I'm just gonna let you know that I just don't think it's a sport. Do you think that World Series of Poker is a sport?
No, there's no physical aspect to it. I couldn't go there.
Okay, so then you're definitely saying that it's not. I'll agree. The lack of physical activity challenges whether or not it's a sport. But when you say NASCAR, yeah. Well, somebody passed out, so it checks that box.
Yeah, right. Hey, like we ask you every week, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag everybody that you know. I like one of our guests, our loyal guests. What's up, Big Chris? Big Christian says that, and I say big because he about every bit of 6'5".
Say his last name though, since you're such a speller.
I'm not a
spell athlete. You're a
country of origin. He says start a new genre of sport called iSport, where you have intelligent games. I like that because that's
why does everything have to be a sport though? Can't things be good and not be a sport? Is that okay?
I don't know. You the one who brought up pornography, Israel. I don't know where we went with that, but somehow you brought that up as a potential object.
I know this is a family show.
To be
there. I just want to let you know that just because it's physical doesn't mean it's sporty. There's a lot of criteria involved in this. It's very difficult. This
Counselor, I like your line of argument there. This is the Around the World episode of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. And we're going to move around the world, sports, business, entertainment in an hour. We're about to get it done from an AAU hotel at another AAU tournament. Let's get busy. We got to start with Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady didn't end so well for Aaron Rodgers when it came to football. Or Aaron Rodgers said, is that I ain't going to let it in there. Yeah, he's the ultimate competitor. Yes, we are in a sort of this situation, this quagmire. We don't know if he's going to be under center for the Green Bay Packers this year.
He will be.
But as a true sportsman who is very competitive, he decided in this the match, it's not new, this is the fourth iteration of it, but he was paired with Bryson DeChambeau, and Tom Brady was paired with Phil Mickelson, and Phil and Tom came up short because Aaron Rodgers decided it's time for me to beat the GOAT. Did Aaron Rodgers avenge the failed attempt in football by whooping them on the links? Both of them, if you watch the match, which I think is a great concept, they started with Phil and Tiger, but both of them can really golf, man. Them quarterbacks got a lot of time on their hands. Aaron Rodgers, did he take back the title? Is he going to get the wrestling belt back because they beat him in the match?
Ellis, I'll let you start.
So I say no. I mean, the thing that's funny about this, right, is I compare it to like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, is these guys that are getting into this other sport for marketability. And it's, nobody really talks about the match. You got these pro football players that are trying to make golf more popular, which is, going back, it was a questionable sport, right? People didn't.
Don't you do it? Oh, don't you do it?
No, I'm not saying. But Tiger Woods changed all that. But look, Aaron Rodgers needs all the wins he could get. He's not doing a great job from a publicity standpoint.
No, he's not.
I'm glad he's winning at something, but he's failing at a lot of things.
He took the dub. Can't either one of you golf? You golf?
I'm terrible. Not even on video games.
So I feel as though, having said, and I'm terrible too. I have golf clubs. I have golf shoes. I know we're on the golf course. Terrible.
And I bet you got a good hat for golf.
I got a great hat. The fashion part of golf is what attracts me. It's the other part that I don't like, swinging the club and being out there for 4 hours. But I'll say this is that the three of us combined are horrible in golf. So we are perfectly positioned for this debate, right? Because that's what we are. As analysts, we got to debate stuff that maybe we're not that great at. But I liked Aaron Rodgers on the golf course. I think he avenged that loss to Tom Brady. What you say, Flo, from the Big Flo show?
I say to myself that Aaron feels like he avenged his loss, and Tom Brady giggled as he walked back to the clubhouse and said, all right, I'll buy the first round. All right, buddy. All right, little guy.
I can afford it. I
little
played
guy.
the Super Bowl.
And he took his rings out of his bag and put them all on his hand and said, yeah, you won. You got me. You
got me this time.
You got me.
And oh, by the way, Giselle's picking me up.
Yeah, I see you.
My supermodel wife is picking me up.
So yeah, Aaron Rodgers feels like he won, and Tom Brady doesn't give a damn.
Right. So does he line up for Green Bay this year? What do you guys think? Yes or no?
So
you think he plays?
Yeah,
he does.
He's not going to just sit out for what? I think if they're not going to trade him, he's not going to sit out.
Why wouldn't he sit out though?
Why would he?
If anybody would, I think he would. He's like this Californian, free-spirited. He's the Woodstock of 2021 when it comes to the position. If anybody would, I think he's carefree enough to do it. What do you think, ETP? Do you think he plays for Green Bay this year?
He's been hedging his bets, right? He's been in the spotlight. He hosted Jeopardy. He's playing golf. He's doing all these other things. Yeah, I mean, they're talking about trying to bring him back. So it would be a shame. I mean, I think as a fan of sports, football, to see basically one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, definitely top quarterback right now, sit out for a year over business disputes when clearly they should resolve it. It would just be sad if he did. I don't think he will, but I think just making it a storyline just detracts from. I always hate when the business gets in the way of the entertainment of sports.
I like it. Well,
as
sports
a Bears
business
fan,
and
I hope you
entertainment
sit out.
You hater as a Bear. Don't you want to be the best? You got to beat the best. You're not feeling it?
We're not the best.
Y'all cool. Nah, we'll play Jordan Love.
We just try to make the playoffs. We just try to make the playoffs, man. We're not trying to be the best. That's what from there.
Well, look, I hope he does play, but I think Green Bay, it's indicative of how their front office is a little like they be feeling themselves a bit, man. To have what is a once in a generation quarterback, is it fair to say that, at least in terms of his abilities?
Maybe
once
twice.
In a generation, twice in a generation. Cool. And you're not willing to come to terms with maybe three. And look, they never built any real team around him. It's like, man, why haven't we won? Like, bruh, you got to build an offense around him. I know he's great, but if he's throwing to guys that can't get it done or doesn't really have a run attack such that it gives them a little more protection as people are trying to defend such a prolific passer. And you got to take some
upgraded Wi-Fi at the hotel.
And so we'll see what the front office does. I feel as though this
is coming back.
My Wi-Fi's off.
So, do you guys think there's an impact when you talk about the ownership or about how they haven't put people around them? What impact do you guys think the fact that they have no real owner, no specific person as an owner on that? You know what I mean? They're owned by the city of Green Bay, but there is no specific person. Just like there's not that secondary person that says, I want to win at all costs or whatever. So it's like run by like a business, unless I'm missing something. They have GM and whatever, but you don't have the Jerry Jones, you don't have the Mark Cubans, you don't have the whatever that person say, I own this and this is what we're going to go do, direction that you get.
I think ownership, the fans' ownership is on paper. It's just in name and the decision maker. They have a head decision maker, just like every other organization. So, I don't think it has anything to do with it. But is my Wi-Fi back? Am I still spotty Wi-Fi?
No, you good.
I'm back. All right, I gotta throw it to the next topic because I was supposed to do that and then my Wi-Fi got bad. I gotta talk about this Navy graduate, and I'll call him by name, Cameron Kinley, who was the president of his class. By all accounts, the type of young man that not only you want leading your country, but potentially leading your locker room. We talked about this when he did not get from the Navy the acting. I got to put acting in front of it. I'm not even giving you full title. The acting Navy Secretary, Tom Harker, had basically said they were not going to delay his military duty obligations to allow him to play in the NFL. So now the Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, has overturned that. Came in, laid the smackdown. Lloyd Austin 316, baby, laid the smackdown on that ruling. And this young man, Cameron Kinley, is going to have a chance to play. Will get a chance to be in training camp for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He plays cornerback. This has to be the right answer, right? Like, because you got your entire lifetime to fulfill. You can't be an old man like me fulfilling your military obligations, but he's still young enough where a delay for a few months shouldn't have been a problem. Love that this young man is going to get a chance to play. I don't know if either one of you wanted to weigh in on it before we moved in, but I had to at least make mention of Cameron Kinley, class president.
Yeah. I think it's real good. I think it's good advertising for the military anyway to have them out there. It doesn't hurt to get it. Hey, by the way, I don't know if you're not supposed to salute. So if that was some false flagging stuff, I apologize to all the military out there.
False flagging, bro?
I don't know. I don't know if you're not supposed to do that. Like I'm not supposed to throw up your Q stuff. I'm not supposed to. I know that. Claim. So I apologize in advance if I
think you're allowed to salute, man.
Am I allowed to salute? Okay, I wasn't sure. I haven't done it.
As long as it wasn't like a personalized Navy salute.
As long as I didn't I didn't do claim it or anything. Anyway, I just want to put that out there. But yeah, I think it's good. I think it's great to do it. You get one guy out there who's representing the military. Helps you, for recruiting. It's going to help you get other guys who know that, hey, if you really can make the NFL, we'll let you go do it. So other guys will join the military. I think it's great. Great. Let's do it.
There's a question posed by one of the audience members, and I like to answer some of these questions because it was, did y'all talk NBA Finals yet? No, but it is coming. Ooh, we got some real debatable. Now we're going to argue. Now we're going to fight about some of that, but there's some debatable topics NBA Finals, and it is coming up because Chris Paul out here acting, hey, Monty Williams, but I digress. No NBA Finals yet, but it is coming. Ellis, ETP, before we get on, Cameron Kinley, great story, great outcome. I'm glad the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin 316 laid the smackdown and is allowing this young man to have an opportunity at his dream.
Yeah, great for him. Pisses me off that our tax money goes to having to decide whether or not somebody that should go and play in the NFL for a little bit. The fact that the defense secretary, there's nothing more important that has to get discussed. We have to put this up to the Secretary of Defense.
Right. I'm going to throw you off right now, ETP, but I'm going to let y'all know about our producer. Our producer can move nimbly while being on the show because I see someone in the comments, my man Nino, who happens to have been a goalie. And we've had a back and forth about whether or not football, or as we in America call it, soccer, whether or not PKs to determine the outcome of a game, whether or not that is criminal. And I think that that's the worst way to end such a hotly contested match, that it would come down to PKs that I think are kind of like, I think they're kind of like, I know you're guessing as a goalie. You go left, you go right. And I know we were supposed to discuss this at the end of the show, ETP, Ellis, the producer, but I'm switching up now that I have Nino here because I want to hear Nino convince me that indeed PKs is a rational way to end a game. We've got the Euros. We've got the Copa. We've got some amazing talent that we're going to see play this weekend. Hopefully everyone will be tuned in. But how we came to these matches largely was because of PKs. There are a lot of people, a lot of teams, rather, that got there because of PKs. The England versus Italy finals on Sunday. You got Brazil versus Argentina in the Copa on Saturday. So make sure that you tune in. What do y'all think, man? Is this like a travesty when it comes to sports to end such a hotly contested tied match in PKs? And we can only spend a few minutes on it, but I got Nino here, and I want to know if that is the worst possible from an in-game rule standpoint. Is that the worst in-game rule of all sports to end a tie game in PKs? What do you think? Or am I going too far?
I mean, soccer has like 6 rules anyway, right? Like it's the simplest game ever. So it's traditional. It's kind of how it works. But I don't know. I mean, for me, it's not weighted fair enough, right? It's basically the goalie's just sitting there in front of a firing squad, and for the most part, is probably going to lose that battle. If there was a way to balance it out a little bit more, maybe add a defender or move it further out where the goalie has to dribble. The goalie, just make it a little bit more competitive. But the way that it is, it's literally, deer in headlights. Figure out, guess which way they're going to go. If you're lucky, then you live to see the next day. But they play 90 minutes and then they just add time on as they go. And then you play in overtime. And now it's just 5-on-5 penalty kicks. It's a little bit tough to say that that's the best way to measure who's the better team.
I think the Euros, in terms of ruling, I think the Euros has at least 1, if not 2 overtime sessions before they go to PKs. But Copa goes right to PKs with no overage.
Oh, really?
No overtime. And I might be saying that wrong, but I think there's a difference between the rules. It's not the exact same. And I guess each tournament, just like here in basketball,
15-minute periods, and then they go to it. They're not sudden death. The way I look at it, I like PKs. I think they're exciting. I think it's a high pressure situation. To get there, it's exciting. You don't want the game to go forever. I do have another solution though. I think that overtime, every two minutes in overtime, they should take a player off the field and get down to the point where you're playing down where because it's so hard to score in soccer because there's so many people out there, right? That's why it's 1-0. There's a bunch of defenders. Someone almost has to make a mistake for you to score. unless you're just way better. But if you have two teams that are tied at the end, I think it's 11-11. It's 10-10. A couple minutes later, 9-9, 8-8. I think you open it up, you're going to get some scoring out there, and then you got to be strategic on who you pull off. So that's one way to do it. But I think PKs are super exciting, though. But I would have to say that it's probably the worst way to end it out of all sports. It's the worst way to end it, but I still like it.
You like it. All right. So now Nino, who follows our show and is a supporter of our show, is my guy, was a goalkeeper, or not was, because once a goalkeeper, always a goalkeeper. It's in his blood. It's in his DNA. He's a goalkeeper. So I could see why he would think it's exciting, because the game comes down to him. That's a field goal kicker's dream, right? Everybody else, like, we laugh at the kicker. As the place kicker on the team never gets the head of the table when we do team meals. That's not the guy that you look into. I've never heard of a place kicker, and I'm sure it's happened somewhere at some point, to be the captain of the team. But when they have their moment, when the kicker has their moment to win the game and they win it, they get all the glory. And so maybe that's why, from a thrill-seeking standpoint, a goalkeeper would like that. But I just think that there's so many competitive moments to get you to a point where there's a tie game through 90 minutes plus overtime if it's a league that does do, or a championship that does do overtime, for it to come down to, and he says, Nino says it's not guessing. I guess there are some reads. I imagine that you do some scouting reports. You look at if the hip is back or something. But I like those two suggestions. Both of you came up with really good suggestions of how he might be. If those soccer folks, those football folks are listening, we just got some suggestions of how you might consider a bit of a rule change, because I've liked it. I've liked the Euros and I've liked the Copa Championships. You've got, Neymar and Messi playing in Copa Championships. There are going to be a lot of eyes on it. And for the person who never played soccer, me, to keep me entertained, you got to keep me entertained. I wasn't as entertained by the PKs to determine the outcome of the game. But shout out to soccer, football, for being, this is around the world, for being the world's most exciting, not exciting, at least most followed.
Most popular. Yeah.
Most popular, right? Gotta be. Would you put that over cricket?
Not even close.
Not even close, right?
It's close, but it's not that close.
Cricket?
I mean, Asia, man, the amount of people.
Big continent, brother, just dealing with numbers. They do play soccer there too.
There's no continent that doesn't play soccer.
Yeah. You're right.
Antarctica.
So shout out to you don't know that. You ain't been. You don't know. They might be over there.
I'm just guessing.
You just guessing.
Right.
Shout out to soccer. Around the World episode. How dare we not talk about soccer, the Copa, the Euros. Been a great time, watching it. And Nino, I stand corrected, man. I no offense, my brother. PKs might be the way to end the game. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Let's hop to another topic, man, because again, trying to get around the world. Let's start in Colorado, which seems sometimes culturally being around the world. In Colorado, they have decided they have 11 months to remove from all high schools all American Indian mascots. I guess in Colorado, disproportionately, a lot of the high schools choose American Indian mascots. 11 months to sort of rid themselves of it, try to change what has been an offensive and ugly history in the state, but also throughout the country. Do you think this is a good thing to change the mascots? I know in the NFL, what used to be known as the Washington Redskins is now the Washington football team. And Dan Snyder and his underlings did not come to that decision easily. But finally, they came to the right decision. Is Colorado doing the same thing quickly before we hop into the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a long time coming, right? I think what's finally happening is people are realizing the effects that this can have on people of, indigenous descent, right? And using these names, Redskins, Savages, all of these derogatory terms are just making a caricature of a nation of people, right? Of a population of people that have been reduced in a lot of ways down to, iconography and chants and, other things at sporting events, and it's derogatory. And now, luckily, it's being discussed, but I think people forget, because there's not a high population of indigenous or Native American or American Indians in the United States that it doesn't get as much attention, but the idea that this is really disrespectful and derogatory towards a whole group of people within the population, it's way overdue and way underemphasized.
Two things in response, because we talked about the spelling bee. Don't be saying iconography on here and have us trying to figure out how to spell it. If you can't spell it, don't use it. But you are, in the second thing, far more seriously, is you're right. Because of the population and limited numbers, you don't hear as much of an outcry. And we talked last week about being an ally in terms of what we discussed with the LGBTQ community. It's good to see that now in America, there are allies for the indigenous population that remains in America. Big Flo from the Big Flo Show. I'll let you end it.
I agree with everything that Ella said. I think in about 50 years or more, people will look back and our great grandkids are going to be like, can you believe they used to have a team that was named after, that was the mascot was a person? Like, you know what I mean? We're going to progress to that level. I just, like, again, you got to fix it. You got to get the history right. Make sure most people don't know an American Indian or a Native American or whatever you want to call it, whatever the proper term is. Most people just don't know any. So they would never think in a million years it's offensive because they're almost mythical to people. So
right. Well, in the hood, everybody claiming we got just a little bit in us. You got a little bit.
Ellis take his hat off. He got
he got that hair.
Hey, my great grandmother was full-blooded Choctaw.
See,
there it is. There it is.
You had to convince me. You ain't got to show no blood. Just take your hat off.
I'm not even gonna prove it.
You don't have to say that. You
don't walk around with proof. No, that's what's up, man. But I do think Colorado's getting it right, even if for years, decades, they've gotten it wrong. So hopefully they'll come up with some creative names, because the Washington football team, to me, is just not creative enough. Well, still make it a mascot.
The Big Flows is available. I'll put
the Big
Flow license to you. Whoever wins state gets to be called the Big
Washington. Washington has so many options. The most creative people in the world came up with potential mascots, and they landed with the Washington football team.
I love that.
I think that's ridiculous, man.
That
is ridiculous. That's like that's so. Yeah, that's like you wake up and your hair is in a total mess, and you just go out. People are like, I love what you're doing with your hair. You backed into
Washington
a good
football
thing.
Team.
That was lazy.
So original.
That's what global football, soccer. That's FC Barcelona. They have the most straightforward names too. So maybe they're trying to globalize their terrible football.
Yeah,
Washington football team.
They got to put a better product out there first. Go ahead.
I say any mascot that you put out there is going to be like, But the Washington football team is fantastic. Just leave it at that. We need no mascot. We just ball. Now they got to win some games, though.
Yeah,
got to win Washington football team.
Yeah, the. Everybody saying the. Y'all get whooped. The NBA, because while the Washington football team was, I think, very lazy, they weren't the only ones. The NBA in the 75th anniversary year.
Mike Tyson.
71st.
I bet you won't say it to his face.
I was going to say it behind his back again. I just said it one time, but y'all got to stay delayed.
But they have an anniversary logo for the upcoming season. The 21-22 year will be the 75th year of NBA basketball. But all they did was take the existing logo and put it inside a diamond for that. I guess diamond is 75th of any particular anniversary. So many suggestions. After Kobe unfortunately died, he and Gigi died in the helicopter crash last year. There were suggestions that Kobe should be the logo. There have been unlimited suggestions of Michael Jordan being the logo. But instead, they kept boring, stale, Jerry West silhouette, put a diamond around it, and call it a day. Is this going to be something that you would buy? I mean, it is 75 years. And do you think they got it right in terms of staying basic? That's what they really did. Really basic instead of being cutting edge. I know that you are in marketing and branding, or have been, since business school, ETP, Ellis, the producer. So I've been wondering what you think about this.
Yeah, I mean, I think design wise, it doesn't do too much. I think, they, like you said, they didn't want to change the logo for all of these other reasons. and now they have a new logo for the 75th anniversary. It's fine. I mean, as a temporary, I think the WNBA, their 25th anniversary branding was a lot better, just graphically, merchandise wise. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it, but I don't know. It looks like ESPN the Ocho type of logo
the
to
Ocho,
me.
Man, good games on the Ocho. Don't start talking about the Ocho, my friend.
Let's talk about the Ocho. I think it should have been Michael Jordan, but I understood Kobe Bryant. Please. But just to leave it with Jerry West silhouette, just put a diamond, it just seems so basic, man. Like,
I mean, nobody even knows who Jerry West is anymore. At the end of the day, it's their brand, it's their logo. I mean, should Nike change the swoosh to look like the Jumpman permanently because I don't know. It's their logo. It's what it was. I didn't people had to tell you it's Jerry West. You ask a little kid what it is. It's just
who that?
It's just a dude dribbling. They don't know who he is.
Right.
But I think a little bit is made too much of the fact that they put the diamond around it because it's all they did was freak it for a little while to go back. So it's not like they changed the logo. They just put out a different edition of it.
The Rock, it looked like Rockefeller.
Yeah,
Rock's in the building. You know what I mean?
All the diamonds that the players are wearing and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to shout out the players. But I think too much is made of the logo and what it could be. People aren't really quick. The NFL is not going to change the shield for anything.
No, not for anything. Not for anything. And this week's version of Snitches Get Stitches. How is it that this author is telling people that Kevin Durant smokes more weed? I think the exact smokes, but he said the exact thing is he smokes even more weed than you would think. Like that whole statement was all messed up. Like I never thought that.
How much weed did y'all think he smoked?
Right, like you know what I'm saying? Like this is getting all the attention because of the cannabis discussion, but there's a whole bunch of like stereotypes in there too. He smokes even more weed than you thought. Like, did he just tell me that I thought that he was smoking weed?
Now, do you think that's because he don't care about how his hair looked?
I don't know.
He always got a blunt
behind his ear. And guess what? What you thought? He smoked more than that. Like, yo, this is all messed up. This is some Jedi mind trick type. What did
it's such a horrible statement. Right? Like this, Kevin had to be like, "What the fuck? Can't this do an interview?" And this dude say he smokes weed all the time.
All the time. He doesn't have hobbies. He doesn't do fun things. He plays basketball. And he smokes weed.
He smokes weed.
And are you kidding me? As a Nets fan, you almost still gotta be like, I vibe with that. That's commitment. That's all he does.
I give up all things: hygiene, brushes, wave caps. I just smoke herb and hoop. I'm great at both.
That's it. I'm committed, y'all. You know what I mean? And the book, ironically, is called "Can't Knock the Hustle." I can't knock his hustle. The author comes out and he's giving little excerpts of it, and every time Kevin Durant gets more and more upset with the excerpts that come out. But this got to be the one. This guy, snitches get stitches. Come on, Mr. Sullivan. You can't just be telling people about other people's consumption, man. That ain't right. He smoked even more weed than you thought. Like, man, that's some Jedi mind stuff.
This just came out on the Bleacher Report.
Okay.
The spelling bee champ. She got hoop game too. They got hoop highlights. Her. Ooh, she crossing people up. She got hoop. Ooh, she can finish. Yeah, she's an athlete. All right.
Avant-garde, of course.
That
don't sound like a basketball name to you.
She got bad hoop game, dude. For real. So she's an athlete. Well, she's not. She don't just smoke weed and play hoop. She spells too.
Now that would be a story if they came out with, and the spelling bee champion smokes more weed than you would even think. Now that's a story. Like, but don't make me think that I was thinking that he was smoking. That's messed up, Mr. Sullivan.
The best part of that question is makes you think, because like I never thought about how much weed Kevin Durant smoked. Why would now you? I got to think about how much weed he smoked, and then I got to increase that.
Increase that more than you think.
Whatever you're thinking, you're going to think. Add to that.
Right. Think about it now.
Crazy, man.
Messed up, man. All messed up. And we're going to get to some other ridiculousness around cannabis a little later because we got to talk about Sha'Carri Richardson. One of the other guests asked us about that. There's a whole Olympic segment that's coming. NBA's coming. But before we do MLB, my man Shohei Ohtani, the only player ever to make the All-Star team as both a pitcher and a hitter. He's going to participate in the home run derby. Is this dude next generation? He's the player that you create on the video game. You're not supposed to have a pitcher that is able to hit like this. This is not real in MLB, yet we're seeing it. This dude's real, man. He is the truth. He's Bo Jackson of baseball.
Great.
Bo Jackson plays All right, I didn't know how to say it. All right, he is the, who would we say? Megatron was kind of like that in football. There's some Randy Moss. There's players that just they
Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders, great one,
like a Reggie Florima type.
Junior, yeah, or the third.
Washington Big Clothes.
Senior.
You talking about senior? Nah, I ain't never heard that. You never heard that wasn't going to Northwestern though. I heard some good.
My bad. No, I think it's unbelievable to be in the home run derby, and you great for ratings. You want him to win so bad, like you know what I mean. You want if this dude can win the home run derby and then strike you out the next day in the game, that's fantastic.
Lethal. I know you're a real baseball fan, ETP, Elsa producer. Unfortunately, you pick a team that no one else really likes if you don't live in Beantown. But what you gotta this dude is the next generation of baseball. You're not supposed to be able to do both of these, right? That's what they told me from afar. What
it's like a dude winning the 100 and then winning the mile.
Yeah, same track meet.
Same track meet.
Yeah. I mean, it's like playing quarterback and linebacker in the same game. And,
it is.
And leading the league in sacks.
Yeah, right.
He has the most home runs in the league, and he's a pitcher.
Does he?
It's crazy. Yeah.
Does he have the most home runs?
Yeah, 30. I think last I saw it was 32. And I mean, it's irrational. The last person baseball-wise, speaking of the Boston Red Sox, Babe Ruth was doing it.
Nobody said,
but it wasn't
right.
Yeah.
You just brought that up.
No, I did. I kind of
know. I just hate because
he made sure he got the name out. It's all good. You cool.
Nobody be listening to me.
It's cool. Yeah, Boston baked beans. We good. I'm just gonna rattle out Boston things too. Then since you doing
crab,
right?
Yeah. Wrestling move.
Best wrestling move ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Go get you out of there quick. That's MLB. We got to talk Wimbledon because it's around the world. Wimbledon going on. Serena, first time ever being out in the first round. But the real story in Wimbledon is they had this wet, grassy knoll over there, man. The floor was all messed up, people slipping. And Wimbledon like, we don't have a problem. As soon as they said that, one of the tennis ball retrievers, that's the job too, went out there and basically tore ACL, had to be carted off. And we saw all the injuries, Serena being one of them. Is Wimbledon doing something wrong? They need to throw some sunflower seeds out there. That's salty.
They might need to get some turf.
Because
their grass looked like Kevin Durant's head in the back. His patch is missing. And I'm thinking, this is a tournament. You have one major tournament a year that you have out there. You can't get the grass right for the one tournament. At least spray paint it so it looks green on TV.
Yeah, something don't look right about that. And like people kept slipping on it. But Wimbledon has defended it. Did they convince you, ETP? Did they make a proper defense of this grassy wet knoll, the grass in Wimbledon?
No, man. I can't wait to see what Kevin Durant tweets about the show for all this disrespect. But
I would be so excited if he did. Kevin, please.
That's what we're working on.
I'm savage.
We're gonna insult you. We're gonna insult you until you respond.
Right.
I mean, everybody was slipping around. They were talking about it, but this is something that Wimbledon. This is the tradition of the All England Tennis Club. They have people that are measuring the grass to be a specific length, and they manicure it. How they deal with it. It's just funny that this year, it's just funny because they came out and they said, oh, there's nothing wrong with the grass. It's perfect. 2 days later, a ball retriever had to get stretchered out, twisting their ankle. Like that's like like we were talking about last week, the NBA sweeper falling and breaking their hip on somebody's sweat. Like, and they're gonna say the floor is not wet.
Nah, the floor is crazy. Nah, you had on some bad shoes. Whoever the title sponsor is, you should have had on Pumas. Yeah, I mean, and get well soon to the tennis ball retriever. We send our best wishes in getting back to full health. The story that I had to get to with the NBA Finals is about off the basketball court. Because you had Marv Albert retired. So shout out to Marv for a great career. You think that would be the off the court story that is the highlight of the NBA Finals, but instead it's ESPN. Rachel Nichols was caught, she dry snitched on herself, caught herself, recorded herself through the technology, making disparaging statement about, not really disparaging about Maria Taylor, but about ESPN and saying that essentially Maria Taylor is not going to take my spot. And I'm trying to get the exact words. I want to have the actual comment because it was cold-blooded. But the summarized version is, I know you guys have an abysmal record when it comes to diversity, inclusivity, but you're not going to get Maria Taylor, right, who's Black, who they were contemplating what her role would be throughout the finals. You're not going to get her shot to check off your box of diversity at my expense. Go find her opportunity somewhere else. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what was said. And it started a firestorm of what has been going on ESPN. There's been now other the tape was leaked. There's been other emails that have been shared. ESPN has been in a whole heap of trouble when it comes to diversity. But this one, to see not only a Black woman and a white woman, and Rachel Nichols being white and Maria Taylor being Black, but now all these other stories coming out. And Rachel Nichols did say, I've had my own experience here when it comes to being a female here, dealing with all of these, she called them white conservative Trump supporters who are making the decisions. Is ESPN in trouble?
Did she go in like that? She called him.
She went in. She went in. And she wasn't.
It's tough for me to listen to Rachel Nichols say that, because this was a good old boy's job forever, and somebody gave her an opportunity as a woman to do it. And to make it seem like she somehow wasn't a diversity hire, but then the other one is like, what are we doing here? Now, I'm saying they've both done a phenomenal job with what they're doing. They both are talented people, and I'd say they're both worthy of the positions and the opportunities that they have. But to act like one is getting the opportunities because of diversity and ignoring the fact that that's how you got your opportunity because of someone's trying to help with diversity seems a bit much. That being said, I don't know that you get fired for that. I mean, I don't know. At some point,
she hasn't gotten in trouble at all.
I thought she did. Or they pulled.
They removed her from. They removed the entire show from their lineup that she's on, and I'm blanking on the show.
If we stop doing this show, I'm essentially fired, right?
For a day. They did
for a day. It was just a day. It was in the regular programming, and they didn't really have time. Damage control couldn't be done. And so they pulled it for the day, but the entire show. But she hasn't been fined. She hasn't been suspended. She has not been
do I think
reprimanded publicly. They're just kind of going with it. They're saying they're going to get past it. I don't know if they get past it, because we're in a new world where that hot mic, if we're thinking of diversity hires, or we're thinking of minorities in quadrants, it just goes to show you that bottom quadrant that really has the most pressure on them, if you will, it is Black women. Because Rachel Nichols, in talking about this, and you hear the audio, she's completely disregarding the fact that Maria Taylor's a woman. Like, she went straight to Black. She's disregarding, and she said that I've had my own experience with it as a woman too, but she gets over that so quickly and thinks that the only way you got this opportunity is because you're Black. And I think Maria Taylor does a great job. I think Rachel Nichols does a great job, but Rachel Nichols seems to not be a team player. I'll let you take us home on this one, ETP Ellis, the producer. This story has a lot of legs, and this is only the beginning of it. So we're opening it here to discuss it, because every few days it seems like more is being disclosed. This is a huge issue, and it's indicative of a bigger problem at ESPN, which is what we're also seeing. They're divulging a lot of the issues that ESPN has had over the years. So this is the beginning of this conversation. But what do you think as it pertains to Rachel Nichols? She hasn't been reprimanded. She hasn't gotten in trouble at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's the biggest point, is this is clearly an inherent issue with ESPN. And the irony of it is ESPN has said almost nothing to address this. They've left it. I mean, Rachel Nichols made a quick apology on her show. It's hard to say how she should be reprimanded. And, it's a really layered topic, right? Because definitely, I think there's disparagement in terms of what she says about this being a diversity hire, right? Like, or her getting opportunities because of their record on diversity. But at the same time, that's basically saying she doesn't deserve the opportunities she's getting. Now, we don't know the behind the scenes. We don't know who's actually, I don't know who's rating higher with audiences. Maria Taylor may very well be pushing Rachel Nichols out of the spot based on any analytics they're doing. But the reality is it's a behind the scenes conversation that's happening in every industry, right? And there's always promotions that are happening. And the last thing that, any disenfranchised group of people, women, black women, LGBT, American Indian, anybody, whenever your performance and your achievements are veiled by, oh, well, you just got the opportunity because somebody felt bad for you, or they're trying to correct a wrong that something happened. It's not about on your own merit. It's just destructive. And I don't know that there needs to be necessarily any public punishment for her, but clearly there needs to be some level of, I hate the term, but sensitivity training. But people just really need to understand the damage, the destructive nature of just that thinking, to say, oh, well, you're giving these opportunities because of diversity. It's dismissive.
Now you'll see that. I just quickly, I was going to say, you see that I posted the comment from my brother Bazemore, who says, Jemele Hill, hold my beer. Because ESPN does have a history specific to Jemele Hill that being too woke get you up out of there. Maria Taylor's contract ends in less than 2 weeks, July 20th. They have not renegotiated it yet. She became infamous within the ESPN corporate structure for how outspoken she was after George Floyd. And now if you look at this particular, I'll call it a scandal, because, the release of the tape and all, the only person that has gotten in any trouble is Kyla Johnson, who was she's a black woman, digital video producer, and get her title right. She told ESPN, the human resource office, that she was the one who sent the video to Maria Taylor. That's how Maria Taylor got the video of the audio, the leaked audio. She was suspended for 2 weeks and without pay, and came back and was getting less desirable jobs before recently leaving ESPN, because this has gone on for a while. This disclosure. Now, Maria Taylor, according to Rachel Nichols has tried to reach out to her, apologized, has said she has not returned her call. She has not accepted her apology publicly. She has not really addressed it whatsoever. So we'll see how this plays out. But I am sure that people like Jemele Hill are thinking, hold my beer, because it seems like two different justice systems when it comes to how the punishment is doled out. And Jemele Hill basically lost her show for being too outspoken. I believe that. I thought Jemele Hill was pretty good. I know ETP, we have our opinions about Jemele Hill, but I thought she was good. She no longer has a job. And to have a hot mic pick this up has some privacy concerns to it, how it's being distributed and sent around to people, because there's some privacy concerns to it. But at the end of the day, Rachel Nichols is not denying that she said what she said. I'll let you take us home on this one, Big Flo.
Yeah, again, just to kind of reiterate, I just, when we talk about like reprimand or whatever, I think just publicly her own reputation is damaged out there. A lot of people who probably supported her now look at her with side eye and say, all right, that's how you're going to say. So, I mean, I look at her differently. Like, again, why do we have to crab barrel people? Now, granted, you're going to be competitive, but for you to sit there and point out the fact that this is a diversity hire, when realistically you were probably a diversity hire too, that was well qualified. Let's not act like I'm not saying she wasn't qualified, well qualified to do it, but somebody had to give you an opportunity when there was a white man that probably historically would have got that opportunity, and they gave it to you. But now all of a sudden, it's kind of like people who don't like immigration. Their parents, they're second generation Americans, and now they hate immigrants, and they're like, oh, well, no, whoever's here, the guest list is over now. Like, nah, okay, so now we're looking at this a different way. It's a different lens now that you're not the person. Right. So, we'll see. I don't know that she needs to be punished other than that, but her reputation is going to be damaged for a long time. Although Marv Albert, you say he just had a retirement, and he had a real bad day too. So
he was dressing in lingerie, biting people on the neck, in the butt, and it was anything wrong with that. Butt. Not that it's anything.
He moved on.
Which part ain't nothing wrong with the dressing in lingerie or the bite?
I think it was a consensual bite on the butt. I do. I think it was consensual. I don't know.
I think all his situations were.
I mean, the But the biggest violation, the biggest violation is if you work in TV and you are the one that are responsible for your own hot mic, maybe you're not as qualified for the position.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's like a basic. So
yeah. And several people had access to it, so it's no surprise that this audio is being leaked. We got to get into the finals because there's some basketball being played. The Phoenix Suns are up 2-1, and last night's game 118 to 108. First game was 118 to 105. The Suns have scored 118 points in both games. Up 2-0. They say the series hasn't really done anything until someone wins on the opponent's floor. But Milwaukee ain't giving me much confidence, man. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna go out there. You know, there's a storyline with Giannis and
he gave us 42, didn't he?
Yeah, but I was gonna say with the free throws, he gave us 42 and they lost. Does he have more in him than 42?
I know one of his knees real loose too. I mean, I don't know. I think
his knees loose like you fasten it.
You gotta tighten the
like you gotta tape it up with duct tape.
They gave you 42 on half a knee. It's over. It's over.
But every time we say it's over, then it's not over. So I'm afraid to say it's over. But
yeah, he was down 3-1, wasn't he? How far down was he to the Nets before everybody started getting hurt?
They were down 2-0, but that was different. That was 2-0. And look, Phoenix, knock on wood, doesn't, you know, they don't have the same.
Well, it's the year of the injury, so you never know. Booker might go tomorrow or somebody. I hate to say that. If it happens, I apologize in advance for jinxing you, but you never know what's going to happen. So you're right. It's not.
I'm sure he will accept your apology, but he probably think, well, why don't you just not say it, bro?
I said it. I didn't mean to say it. Came out. Just slipped out. You know, my mouth is loose too.
So any chance Milwaukee comes back, what do you say, ETP? They got a shot?
I mean, they always do. You know, they always surprise, and they always come out the blocks looking sluggish. I mean, even going back to when people counted them out a couple years ago, they're going to get swept, and then they came back and beat the Celtics. So anything's possible. But correction from last week. So when I said nobody had ever made the finals on either team, there's one. It's Jay Crowder. So I think just the sense of urgency of Chris Paul knows that he may never be back in this position again. Jay Crowder's been to the finals, and he's a rabid dog, you know, in the way he plays and approaches the game. So I just think that veteran perspective, there's not many other people on either bench or either team that aren't thinking, we could, in the back of their mind, we could get here next year. I know it's, you know, ultimate goal, but I just think the sense of urgency is different. Suns are playing. It wasn't even, I mean, Giannis put up 42 yesterday, and it wasn't even a close game at any point.
Nah.
You could have told me he put up 80.
They cut it to 8.
It didn't matter.
They cut it to 8, I think, at one point, but it never felt like Milwaukee was going to win that game. CP3, such a polarizing topic. Because I see it, and we see one of our audience members says, just give CP3 the chip now, it's over. So many people are celebrating CP3, but man, there's a group of people that really hate CP3. For some reason, his personality, I don't know what it is, a group of players that they just really dislike him. But he's playing well. As Patrick Beverley, if there's a group of players that dislike him, I mean, push the man all up in the back.
That's Ashley Leary, Patrick Beverley.
Ashley Leary. I'm happy for Monty Williams. I'm happy for CP3. It looks like they're on the road to victory. I might owe somebody a beer because it looks like the ratings say that the numbers are up. I don't see how. Up probably versus 2020 because we were dealing with we were sort of at the center in the heart of coronavirus at that point. But that makes it
even worse though. Really, though, if you think about it, that makes it even worse that they're doing better. I mean, we were so excited to watch basketball to come back. They played in the bubble. Nobody left the house. It was LeBron.
Not everyone, though. Not everyone. And some people thought that we were cheated on this shortened season. And I'm just going to say in terms of July of 2020, and I'm saying it now not to make light of it, but there were a lot of us as residents of Americans dealing with trying to bury loved ones. And I don't know. Look, Whatever the thesis is, I might owe somebody a beer because I just knew that the viewership was going to be down. The ratings going to be down. The other story I wanted to make sure I touched on real quick before we move on in the NBA Finals is this gentleman, Langston Galloway, plays for the Sun. He's got what he is calling as it's a new shoe line, his own shoe line. He's calling it Ethics. He's 29-year-old. He's been in the league 7 years. He went to the Harvard Business School's crossover and business program. And, he couldn't get signed by another shoe company, so he started his own. And here on the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where we talk sports, business, and entertainment, shout out to you for a good business move, young man. Langston, my brother Langston.
What are the shoes called?
Get your bread. Ethics.
I hope they better than Big Baller Brand, though.
I think they're using the same construction companies to make
construction.
The construction,
manufacturer.
the concrete
you don't
shoes.
use the construction. Right?
You got concrete shoes. You got to sleep with the fishes.
Go to your handyman, like, yo, bro. Hey, I know you just fixed this door.
Terrible.
But can you make these sneakers for me?
We got a loose knee. Giannis got a loose knee. We need fixing, and these shoes need constructing.
Button it up, fam. Button it up. All right, we got to get the name, image, and likeness. Part 2. We talked about it last week. It was the Wild Wild West, and then we've seen how the Wild Wild West has unfolded again for another week. But the University of Miami, the U, is the first example of someone at a booster that is doing what he is calling for $540,000. He's doing an entire name, image, and likeness deal for all scholarship athletes at the University of Miami. If this ain't sort of like the full circle at Notre Dame, it was the Notre Dame quarterback club, that booster club. You could pay $25 for that. You considered a booster. And we saw when Notre Dame got in trouble, someone from that club gave players
only a couple tree,
only a few players, all of which that person had personal relationships with, some intimate relationships with, flights to certain places, paid for the hotels, and again, just talking about Notre Dame, got in a whole heap of trouble. How is this different? A booster is unapologetically saying, I got enough money to pay all y'all. $540,000. I got enough money to pay all y'all. So how is this different?
The rules have changed.
The rules just changed.
The rules changed to say that things have been illegal forever are not legal. The rules changed. This is why I have an issue with the NCAA, because you never thought that this was so clear that it was going to happen that now I have a means to just pay you.
They're saying that's okay. They're not. It's not like
that's not what this was supposed to be.
This is an
but it's an endorsement deal. It's an endorsement deal, right? It's a booster who happens to have a company who is basically paying the entire team an endorsement deal. I don't have a problem with it. It's the way the rules. I mean, it's the rules. The rules are the rules, right? If we're gonna play that game, and the thing about it that's great is everybody's getting the same amount of money. Except why don't the walk-ons get any love? I'm just surprised about.
He said 90. He left 5 in there for some walk-ons. Some guys would prefer
like the walk-ons got to pay for their education,
hey, man,
and they don't even get a stipend of social media sponsorship.
I think it's fantastic. I hope it keeps happening.
Of course you do, because I get it. You get personally.
Listen here, man. If there's any rich alumni from the NU thing that want to come back and support a brother and his family and everybody, give us $500 a month, you have my vote.
I just don't see how the NCAA didn't think that this was going to happen if you didn't come up with some rules around it, like simple rules, like you can't have a team endorsement deal, such that if you wanted it to be truly a third party that had meaningful business relationships with the spokespeople, then you can't make a team. But anyway, look, shout out to the U. Maybe I'm just hating because the U did it first, and I'm a Notre Dame man. But I don't see where this ends well, because now if it's going to be another University of Miami person, like this person is being mentioned. Let me say the booster's name, because I actually want to say his name since he bought it. Basically, he bought this advertising. Dan Lambert has earned the right to have his name called.
The low fee of $540,000 a year.
And they've been using that forever.
Ball Hog Sports Talk.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know, man. It's one of them situations where I just think the NCAA, the rollout was poorly done. They didn't think about something as simple and basic as the booster that can now call it a marketing deal that doesn't really have any substance. I like the name, image, and likeness concept because on its face, if you have substantive, meaningful business relationships that don't undermine what you're trying to do as a student athlete, then I'm all for it. But
so how does that undermine what they're trying to do as student athletes?
No, I was saying hypothetically I think this is just a showcase type situation where I've got enough money.
No, he's got health clubs or gyms or something. So it's going to be.
I know. So how and they're getting this money for tweets and little. Come on, man.
Come in there, do 3 push-ups a day,
and yeah.
I don't think that's
some gear.
I don't think that's very
shirts to wear on campus, some jogging suits or something.
I think the moral of the story is I like the U. I've got enough money. I'm gonna pay all y'all, and forever we're always gonna mention my name when it comes to what this looks like, and it becomes about just. To me, that's not substantive enough. I saw name, image, and likeness as real relationships with real brands helping you.
Don't have a vote.
You're right. I don't have a vote, but I think the NCAA, they did have a vote. They did have a voice, and they punted their responsibility. And this is the kind of stuff that's going to happen when you don't have a real rollout that has meaningful rules around it that still encourages name, image, and likeness deals, still encourages this third party, call it a brand, call it whatever, call it I don't know, car sales, one of these auto loan places. I don't care what the business is, but I just think it needs to be more substantive. This isn't very substantive. This is all about Dan Lambert, not about substantive relationships that are meaningful, in my humble opinion.
But if he wasn't a booster, does it matter?
If he wasn't a booster, he wouldn't do it.
Why not?
If he was a booster, he would do it because the money behind, like the finances of this, doesn't make sense.
To you?
No, to most business owners.
We're talking about it. It's been, the media value that he's gotten from it already
being first
is valuable.
It's funny. I actually believe this is a stunt. I don't think it's going to go through because I don't think they've accepted it. And I think we're talking about it. And he's pubbing his gyms, and everybody's going to have this conversation, and people are going to wonder about these gyms, and it's just never going to go through. I think he's going to get offer credit. That will never. He got credit.
He's going to get credit
all these people. It never happened. It was a great publicity stunt. He'll never have to pay it.
My thinking is this: NCAA could have avoided this by just being more thoughtful about the rollout. And this, to me, agreements like this were easy to foresee.
I don't think that there's any rule that they're going to make that would stop this agreement. Is I think what I'm saying. Right. This is exactly this. This is the intended consequence. Is that people can go, intended outcome. People can go out there and get money for something, and nobody can tell you. We're gonna have a committee now that can say whether or not it's a good business deal or not. That's ridiculous. But
when we talked about it, we didn't say this was the intended consequence. Maybe I was a little naive. I thought the intended consequence was to take advantage all athletes across the athletic spectrum at universities to take advantage of the value that they've built in their own brands. And individually speaking, I think there's some parity there because whether or not you're on the swim team or the football team, there's parity there and there's a real meaningful relationship. That, to me, that's different than to say there's a brand value that is the University of Miami football, and I'm just going to take advantage of that and pay everybody. That's different to me. And maybe it's tomatoes, but I don't think so because other boosters are going to be that are well off and have the money, the financial wherewithal to do this, are going to be inclined to have a deal like this. And I don't know that the other than the $500, I don't know that the athletes are really benefiting from this relationship.
Right. Well, I'll give you an example, somewhat kind of similar, but at least just shows how the rules operate, right? So 2012 Olympics, you guys may remember this story or not, but 2012 Olympics, Panasonic was the audio sponsor of the overall Olympics. Beats by Dre, no affiliation with the Olympics, created a house and basically a gifting suite and we're inviting athletes from the Olympic Village to come take some photos, get some free, country branded Beats by Dre headphones. every shot on every, they're warming up to do the high dive. You see these Beats by Dre headphones on the player, on the athletes. Banned. Panasonic shut it down. The amount of value that Beats by Dre got from that, just from infiltrating the Olympics without official sponsorship, it was them playing within the bounds of the rules because there was no limitation that you couldn't gift any product, but they ended up getting value from it. So I look at this not much different. It's just I got a team sponsorship deal without having to go through the actual team. I just sponsored the entire team from my health clubs, and now they may change the rules because of it. But as a marketer, it's a smart move. It's like an unofficial team deal for $500,000.
I think it's a very smart deal, but not so innovative that the NCAA should not have seen it coming. And on the other end of it, and this is just sort of, and I'm getting old, right? Because I'm coming at it from old man way back when we didn't get paid. But from the other end of it, I feel as though that the student athlete doesn't really benefit from this, other than the $500. Whereas
that's all the benefits you need. $500.
I think that's the same thing that was true before when the boosters were just putting $500 in your hand after the game. You haven't really.
But you're not losing your wins or your trophies.
What game were you at?
I didn't get it. No, the hypothetical person, man. You ain't about to make me snitch on nobody, especially myself. Hypothetical handshake with the $500 in it, right? That was cool for you to go out and buy some Jordans and do some stuff. And I talked about how to pay out the money if indeed at some point institutions are going to pay their players. I talked about doing it from protecting the player standpoint. I think $500 from some random brand, a martial arts guy that goes to all the scholarship athletes doesn't do anything for the student athletes themselves. In addition to that $500, $500 is cool, but I'd rather be a meaningful relationship. I'd rather be a meaningful relationship. Say again.
Tell that to an 18-year-old that doesn't really hardly believe.
Granted, but the NCAA isn't run by 18-year-olds. That's what I'm saying. The NCAA they're the grown-ups. They're supposed to be the grown-ups in the room. The 18-year-old is very happy. Everybody at University of Miami, I'm getting $500. All I got to do is tweet, cool, boom. But they don't realize, most 18-year-olds don't realize they're part of this scheme.
That same gym could go to University of Miami and say, listen, I'm going to hand out T-shirts to all your players and see what they wear. We'll give you guys $1 million a year. University of Miami say, cool, we'll do it for $1 million a year. We'll take it in the pocket. The athlete gets nothing but the T-shirt. Now they get $500 and the school is cut out of that. And whatever. I think it's fantastic. He's getting the $500 unless they're some long contract saying that they got to go to the workout at the gym 3 times a week or something stupid that they can't fulfill. They're getting $500 just for their likeness to be named. And if it's not an exclusive deal, they absolutely benefit $500. It's great. It's money that they didn't get last year.
$500 a month.
It is great. And just add yet another entity that is just using these players. I agree. You're right. You're right. They get the $500. And then what? I'd rather a name, image, and likeness deal such that I have a real meaningful relationship with a brand that's going to really develop me while I'm developed or endorsing their brand.
String tight end.
I don't expect any. You're not hearing me say that the players are going to side with me.
No. I'm
at
saying
18 years old. At 18 years old,
there's 85 people on scholarship, right? There's only probably 7 or 8 people of note on that team that are really.
You don't know that. The way it's set up.
I started probably 7 or 8. Can I finish?
I was going to say absolutely wrong.
Okay, well, when I'm done, can you say that when I'm done talking?
Yep.
7 or 8 people on that roster are probably marketable type people, right? The running back, the quarterback, the DB, a defensive end, blah, blah, blah. The rest of these people will never see any name, image, likeness. No one's going to develop a brand. They're not going to do anything unless they come out with some clothing line that really is independent of the fact that there's what their football abilities could take. You're going to give all these kids some money. Most of these kids are like, oh, name, image, and likeness must be nice. I've been looking at Twitter, watching these people say, hi, my mom thinks I'm handsome. This is true. My mom thinks I'm handsome. Do you want me to market your brand? There's some company that's got a bunch of people doing that to see if somebody's going to pick them up to brand coverage. Newsflash, nobody's going to call you. So most of the guys in there, some of these guys are sacrificing for the other guys. So everybody get the 500. I think it's fantastic.
If that was true, then we wouldn't have applauded name, image, and likeness for its ability to bring in non-revenue generating sports, the athletes from those sports for these deals. We celebrated the fact that you can get directly to say again.
They're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
The fact that this
I didn't say they are mutually exclusive. You just said this hypothetical third string tight end has no chance of getting one of these deals. I think you're absolutely wrong, because that third string person might be known for something that has nothing to do with football. And that's the beauty of name, image, and likeness. The kicker that we talked about destroying wasn't the best kicker in college football. He was a kicker for UCF that maybe has some NFL potential, maybe, but it wasn't like he was kicking 60-yard bombs. His value was in the fact that he was anonymous from the football standpoint.
Okay, why can't they still do that? What precludes them from doing that? Because
I'm not saying I didn't say that it precludes them from doing it. What I said was, if that the NCAA, the grown-ups in the room, thought about deals like this, that I think undermine the spirit of that, as I'm describing it. Anybody on any team that has built a brand outside of their institution, outside of their team, can create a real meaningful business relationship with any brand and get paid for doing so. A la destroying, he was taking advantage of his own brand that he built, a YouTube channel. Then I think the NCAA would have had a more pure relationship with what name, image, and likeness should be for student athletes. Somebody putting up $540,000 and marching these athletes out to show, look what I did, to me, I think undermines what should have been the spirit of name, image, and likeness. That's all. I mean, I'm getting old. I'm getting old.
Hey, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Because I have to agree with you. Get old. I don't see why one has anything to do with the other one unless it's an exclusive deal.
It does, man. It does, because what it will do for a business owner that's thinking about creating a meaningful relationship with that third string tight end is now they've got to really quantify, is it worth it when Dan Lambert is being nationally discussed for just throwing up $540,000 in the air. That's he just made it rain up in the air, like let the money fall that it wants to fall. It's not as meaningful for me as a business owner when I contemplate that.
You're trying to say that it affects the market? Now the market is diminished? Is that what you're trying
to
say?
I'm not saying that. It's one school. What I'm saying is the NCAA should have thought about this and rolled it out in a way that protect the student athlete. Yet again, the NCAA, to me, covered his eyes when it came to this rollout and regulating it so it favors the athlete. $500 a month in a relationship that don't mean nothing. The university could, like, $500 a month, they would laugh. They got so much more money than that. I don't think it was in the spirit of the in the spirit of the ruling when they were contemplating name, image, and likeness. And it should have been at least contemplated. That's all I'm saying, because it seems so obvious. They being boosters have done it forever. Instead of it being official, where you're getting, 1099s for this independent contractor relationship you have with said random brand, it was a handshake.
That might be the minimum. I think it had to be above $6,000 to get the 1099. I think they may hit you right at that limit where they could just throw you that loot.
Yeah,
I hear where you're trying to go with that, but
I'm not celebrating it.
I just don't think. I just don't think that all the opportunities are still there for naming. Whatever the spirit was, and this person got some money for $540,000. He got some advertised on it. I bet you the deal doesn't go through because somebody's not going to want to sign. But
I don't know.
But they don't have to all sign. Like, he's offering it to everybody.
Oh,
he's offering it to the whole team. It's not an all or nothing situation. If they take it, then they take it. Up. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I think it just goes to the larger point. Like, I guess it's all subjective what we think the spirit of the name, image, and likeness ruling or freedoms are now. But it just shows how muddy it is. The NCAA wanted to keep all the money that it makes off of all its media deals and marketing and all of that. They could have simplified all this by saying you still can't make any money off your name, image, likeness, but we'll pay you, and we're going to figure out a way to make it equitable, whether it's a trust fund or something. They just didn't want to touch their money, so they let everything else go by the wayside, and they was like, we're not even going to pay the lawyers to fight this to an extent where it matters. Like, we're not even going to pay for it.
I agree with that 100%.
Well, that we said it last week, but if you agree with that, even the way that it's paid out, like you said, put it into a trust. Those are adult, responsible solutions that I think the NCAA should have been the quarterback of creating. Mm-hmm. Whereas if there's no rules whatsoever, like this, as an 18-year-old freshman, when I hear that I committed, I signed the University of Miami, when I hear this, I celebrate. Like, oh, I'm going to get $500 because I'm thinking of what shoes I'm buying. you haven't really solved the problem. As a 44-year-old man who can't go out there and play anymore, that's looking at my kids and thinking about how they would navigate, use the sport, don't let it use you. I'm not celebrating. I'm like, you just can use in a different way.
45 right about
now.
Yeah, I say gain the year over the show.
I think the premise is you're basically saying that it's like the only deal, right? But these guys have these specific players can go out and get all the deals they want, right? True. So this isn't going to shut them down.
Very true.
To any other, they can't go get like a UFC.
How come when he said it sounds so clear, and when I said the same exact thing, you disagree with me so quickly?
No. I'm saying you're saying they're not mutually exclusive, and I get that. And they can go out and get other deals. I get that. I did hear you say it, and I heard Ellis say it again, and I guess I've come around because that part is true.
You come around.
That part is true.
I mean, you just jumped in and agree with that so quickly for me. I can fight you.
I've come around in the sense to say yes, that is true. They can go do that. But what I will still maintain is when a business owner who was really thinking about, I might go sign one of these college athletes to be a national spokesperson for me and really develop them as a spokesperson and pay them, compensate them the right way in a fair market value type of relationship. Yeah. And in the process, that person is going to use this hopefully to catapult them into different business relationships. I don't know if they want to do it now.
So that's why
because they don't want to be the same.
The market, unfortunately, set the market too low. But I guess it does come down to what do you get for the $500? Like, does the $500? These people are going to be on every commercial, on every billboard, all over. Are they really going to sell themselves out for $500? Okay, yeah, I would agree with you on that case. That you kind of ruined things because you sold too low. They offered it, but if it's just a bunch of them come in and out of the gym, and they have the shirts, and it's I don't know whether it's just a chain of gyms. I don't really haven't researched or whatever, but if it's, if you get what you pay for, you get $500 worth of work out of me, which is just using my picture here or there. It's different than being a spokesperson with someone like the guy that did Under Armour, the guy that was really a football player. Although most people don't know he was, but he played for like wherever Under Armour came out of, Maryland or NC State. The guy who said, "We protect this house."
Eric, he's a big Under Armour exec now. Eric Armador or whatever. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy. So that dude was really into something. Like, he wasn't in school at the time, but like he was really the face of the program and doing whatever. And hopefully he got paid accordingly or whatever. There's a difference between that and like the local.
That's a great example. But that guy has now been in the ranks and ascended the ranks of Under Armour forever. He used to run the whole Under Armour program at the NFL Combine. To me, that's a meaningful relationship that would lead to something. Whereas, I sound old, I do, but I just think the $500 and look, the brand itself, the guy's campaign is under the slogan, "Bring back the U." The value of University of Miami to be able to get all 90 scholarship athletes for $540,000 to at least in some way or fashion endorse, these martial art programs, I think is very low in the grand scheme of things. And I don't know if 18-year-olds could really negotiate fairly to get fair market value. And so I think the NCAA could have been.
They do have companies.
Well, they haven't negotiated. He offered it. They can they can individually negotiate what they want. I agree with you 100%. You're old. And but because this is basically how new age marketing deals work, micro influencers and all of these, you're paying pay per tweet and all of these things. Like I see it as an opportunity and it I think your frustration with it is valid just because of the unclear nature of the name, image, and likeness regulations and what you can and can't do. I think what's really it's gonna be a big change when, if Nike or Adidas or any of these big apparel companies come in and start trying to take the individual athletes from the big, if Adidas tries to come in and take, the Duke power forward and get him give him a shoe deal and take him away from Brand Jordan or Nike, then we'll see the NCAA starting to get a little bit funky. But other than that, they're just going to let it fly.
I'm almost positive that the agreement with the institution will not allow that. And that's my point, is that people contemplated those type of one-offs when they were negotiating the deal with the institution. Grown-ups got in the room and made sure that couldn't happen. And I just wish that grown-ups.
It didn't exist before.
It didn't exist before, but it did not exist before. But even like wearing a certain shoe outside of the contract, or having maybe just like if this would be a good example. If you're an Under Armour school, but your track program wants to wear something that's a little more fitting for the track athlete. Under Armour didn't even make track spikes. Even that was excluded. Grown-ups got in the room and negotiated fairly on behalf of the institution. And I don't think that the NCAA did its job in making sure that these athletes on the other end were protected as name, image, and likeness rollout occurred. And so we'll look, this is going to leave us ample opportunity to argue about it.
Every week there'll be something
every
new.
week there's going to be something new. But shout out to Miami for being the first one to get to the bag, I guess, as a team. And I do like the concept. I just didn't like the way that it was rolled out. Dan Lampert, you a cold piece of work, my brother. We talking about you, so you did something right. We got to go to the Olympics, man. It is around the world. Olympics is the quintessential international global sports event. It's in Tokyo 2021. There will not be fans. And I thought that again, in terms of storylines, that should be the biggest storyline. But that ain't even close to being the biggest storyline because they unfortunately have had a spike. There will be no fans. So if you plan to go to Tokyo, you're gonna be watching it from your hotel room.
They've said that they weren't going to allow. I think they were only going to allow local fans. That was the best that they had ever talked about, and then they took that away because there's a spike in the whatever variant that they have over there. I just think, why would you want to host the Olympics if you can have fans? I mean, isn't that the whole reason why you want the Olympics?
They built an Olympic village for this. You know, they're going to lose their shirt, like money-wise.
I would just be like, I don't want the Olympics. Let Chicago have it.
The economy is supposed to all of those the assumptions, the estimations that you put on your economy. The budget was probably dependent on them making X amount because over the last several Olympic games, you can guesstimate what you're going to make, and none of that is going to come true. Years to come
of tourism, years to come of people say, "Man, I had a good time there.
I had a good time.
I got to go back. Man, I got to get
none
back."
None of that's going to happen.
Why would you want it? I would give the Olympics back. I'll take the next one.
But they're still not the biggest story for the Olympics. The biggest story is all the people who won't be participating. Sha'Carri Richardson was the big one. We talked about her smoking cannabis, but there's so many more of them. We got to talk about. I don't know who the biggest storyline would be. I guess Sha'Carri, because she has Congress people writing on her behalf now to the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. But does this put a black eye on the Olympics? Because a lot of the people that were banned, you've got the several of the women athletes that are not able to compete because of testosterone levels.
That's crazy. That one is crazy. The craziest part about that is you have too much testosterone for the 400, but not the 200. What?
That one was crazy.
So
what does that mean?
So that's what I think the whole thing is. It just raises all these questions about the consistency and the rationale behind all of these rules, right? So I'll quickly go through, like, because I think it warrants like actually listing them. So Brianna McNeil, she was banned for 5 years for missing her test, not failing a test, missing test. She had an abortion that threw off her schedule, and
can't believe they put that out there.
I can't believe they put that.
When I read that, I couldn't believe. I was like, "Good Lord, what do I HIPAA? How is this out here?"
Yeah. Well, she disclosed it.
Oh, I still can't believe it was out there.
So
that's how you know that we in 2021. Like, publicly disclosed that this girl had an abortion. I'm old, man. I'm old. Anyway, but yes, she missed her test.
But either way, she missed it for a test.
And she was the one that was appealing. She competed throughout the appeal. But
if I'm not wrong, she missed 2 or 3 tests, but she passed like 29 of them or something ridiculous like that. So it's like she's been tested so many times, she kept passing. She missed some tests, and now she's just banned for 5 years.
5 years
because she appealed it, and she stated the date incorrectly of when by a day. She was like, "I got an abortion on Thursday. It actually happened on Friday." They threw it out, upheld the ban, moved on. So let me just go through, and we could talk about them. So this woman from Bahrain, Sawa Eid Nasser, 400 meters.
Spell it. No, I'm just
backwards.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm gonna need you to use that in a sentence.
Country of
so
origin. Go ahead,
she
man.
missed 3 tests. She missed 3 tests. Passed 19 in 2019.
That's the one. I'm sorry, I confused
tests.
that one. That was one.
She passed 19. So this just shows. I mean, the Breonna McNeil said she took and passed 70 tests. This one 19 tests in a 6-month period, 2-year ban, and it runs through the Olympics and into 2023. Shelby Houlihan, distance runner for USA, tested positive. She claims that it was a pork burrito. 4-year ban. That could mean the next 2 Olympics. The burrito situation, that's another topic.
Pork, that's swine. The Bible says don't eat swine.
Yeah. 2 women from Namibia and 1 from South Africa. Both of them, all of them disqualified for testosterone thresholds. But to your point, only applies for races from 400 meter to a mile. So you can have whatever testosterone levels you want and run the 100 yards. But you can't, or 100 meter, you can't run the 400 or the 800.
And you almost would think that the 100 gives you need testosterone more than the distance. You need that, that hard burst. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But then on in weightlifting, there's a transgender woman, Laurel Hubbard out of New Zealand, who was competing as a male, and is able to compete as a woman, but I don't think there's any testosterone testing on that side. So that just even across the sports, it's just weird. So in track, it splits by race, and then also it splits by the events. So all of those, I mean, the rules are just crazy. I just wanted to go through them. I probably missed a bunch of them. And then the last one, Allison Felix, this wasn't an Olympic ban, but she was dropped from Nike because she was pregnant, renegotiating her contract, ended up coming back, breaking Usain Bolt's for record for world titles, and created her own brand, and it qualified for the Olympics after having a baby. So it's just all of these
a size 14 wide.
Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
I would support you.
I'm moving. Right. Yeah, it is the personnel in the Olympics and the storylines is what we all are drawn to every 4 years. So I don't know, man. It doesn't feel right. There's so many stories, and we don't have to get into this now, but there have been conversations about the racial mix-up or racial makeup of those on the ban from the Olympic list. If you look at it, man, it's a whole bunch of black women on there.
Yeah.
And it's just it's unfortunate. I think USADA is a bit outdated. We all saw the biggest story about USADA was Sha'Carri Richardson. That's why the Congress, I can't think one of the congressmen, along with AOC, wrote a note in support of Sha'Carri Richardson, basically saying, USADA, you got to rethink this. The NFL has rethought it, NBA, NHL, everyone's rethinking it. You shouldn't take away her Olympic dream for this. She became a household name and American legend in the short time leading up to this Olympics. I mean, we finally thought we had a 100-meter champion on our hand. We gonna beat Jamaica.
That's a fast. I still go back and say she should have smoked weed.
Yeah, it's the rule. She admitted that she knew the rule and she intentionally.
Come on, man. How does that help you? How does that help you run 100 faster?
It doesn't.
I'm not saying it does, but it's the rule.
An easy rule to follow. Just don't smoke weed. That's all. It's not natural testosterone that they're trying to get you for. It's not anything like that. Just don't smoke weed.
Yeah,
I tell my son right now.
Within a time period of when the race is. Not even don't ever do it.
She obviously smoked trees and got away with it before. But here's the argument I have, and I say this to my son all the time, right? And not to make this about him, but listen, you can't go out and do everything that everybody else is doing, right? Yeah, I know a lot of the kids that he goes to school with, a lot of kids drink, a lot of kids smoke weed, but they don't all have an opportunity to go play college football free. If you do it and you get caught, you lose your future. If they do it and they get caught, they get grounded for 2 weeks. There's a big difference. She's about to be on the national stage, and yes, her mom, a reporter told her mom, dad, and that's tough. Man, go run, go do push-ups, drink a fifth, something. but you know that you're giving up your whole future for this. Shame on her and shame on her friends for doing it. Like somebody said, the weed man's not supposed to sell you weed, your friends, but she obviously smokes herb. Like she didn't go try herb for the first time. And I'm not saying it's a problem, whatever. It's illegal now, and I mean she's probably too young to smoke it, but it's weed is legal now. It's kind of decriminalized. But you're an athlete.
In the state she failed the test, it's legal.
It's legal, yeah. But you're right. In Oregon, she was at the end of the day, you can't smoke weed and run track. You smoke weed, you run track, and now you're home. That's why she's not tripping. She knows she did it.
I know, but I don't know, man.
I'm sad because I wanted to see her run. I want to see what color her hair was going to be. Too. She was probably going to do red, white, and blue and come around the side. And I was going to do the same thing when she ran on the – oh, nope. Okay.
Look, man, you could take a poodle on the plane now and call it a comfort dog. What do they call it? What do they say? A therapy pet? What do they call it?
Therapy puff. It's a therapy
companion
puff,
something like
the woman found out her mom died after years of drug abuse, and she took a pull on a therapy pipe or pen.
But that doesn't change the rules. It doesn't change the rules.
She should have claimed that she has undiagnosed glaucoma. And maybe that would have had a better chance. But I feel bad. I thought she would at least do the 4x1.
I do.
They left her off the 4x1. They didn't have to do that. They could have brought her out there. They had to leave her off the 4x1. Maybe it could have been a rain delay on the 100. She could have got in there.
Yeah, maybe. Other stories in the Olympics, man, and we're going out of here. This soul cap was banned. Black folk we losing this particular Olympics. I don't know what's up, Tokyo. No Black Lives Matter shirt. The soul cap.
Shouldn't have called it soul cap. That's where they messed up.
That's what
it was like
soul cap.
Soul cap.
Instead of soul cap, you got the soul cap.
Wave cap. They could have called it a wave cap, and it would have the same effect.
When you see me in my soul cap, I want you to start you a soul clap. You know what I mean? Oh man, name, image, and likeness, baby. We could have been getting somebody paid off of this. The other storyline, the WNBA player, and I gotta go to my spelling guide for this. Nika Ogwumike, one of the sisters, the Ogwumike sisters. You got Chike, who's always on television. That's the one that's on ESPN, right? Chike, which one's on ESPN? Shanae.
She's the one. She has that like really strange DoorDash commercial. It's like a dream sequence in food and basketball.
Both Stanford grads, amazing sisters. Both have done well in the NBA. Both played for the Sparks. The third sister got drafted into the WNBA, but did not make the team. And her name's Erica. I don't know how they got the youngest one got Erica. Like they fully assimilated at that point. Oh yeah.
Well, the first two, the other thing about them, the president and vice president of the WNBA Players Association.
No, they're solid Stanford grads, but they might be playing for their Nigerian homeland, which would be cool to see this. But this is the first time that, or of all the, she won in 2016. Which one won it? Nika won it. Won the MVP, WNBA MVP. She's the only WNBA MVP that has yet to play in the Olympic Games. So I hope she gets on this Nigerian team. And some think she was snubbed for this particular round. But I hope she makes it to Olympic Games.
So they got Nigeria. Cut from the USA team?
So yeah, she was Sinead, it was controversial. Yeah. And so now they're trying to, I guess, get some type of approval for a provisional roster to go over to Nigeria and probably try to take the gold from the USA as payback. So
yeah,
man.
'Tis the season. All right, man. I think that we have around the world in this around the world episode. We have gone around the world. Like we ask you every week. Please please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk in the building with your boy B Brown ESQ, aka the Ball Hog, aka the Mouth of the South, aka Mr. Excessive Celebration, with my man, the Big Flow Show, who happened to be wrong today. But hey, man, you know what it is, man. You know, check out that name, image, and likeness segment.
Until Ellis said it.
Until Ellis said it.
Right. No, B Brown, you're 100% right today. You're old.
100.
We got
Yeah, I am. When you said you agree with me, I did not think that's
and you owe the Enigma
old,
a beer
straight up
because
old,
the
man.
ratings are down. So you're good. You're 2 for 2.
And you know what it is? ETP Ellis, the producer. This has been a great show. Please join us next week. We'll be with some more sports, business, entertainment coming to you. I think I'll finally be at my house and not some hotel at an AAU basketball tournament. But we about to go try to win this chip out here at the Boo Williams Classic. With that, man, it's been a great show. Been a great show. Thank you for listening. We ask you, like we do every week, humbly, it won't cost you anything, just a few seconds, no money. Please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and subscribe in the podcast universe. We is out. Peace.